So biggest thing that we've started on is the infield, the competition piece, so to speak, for the NASCAR races. We've added concrete walls. We've started prepping with those concrete walls for the safer barrier. We've removed all the old wheel fence, started fabrication of the new wheel fence. We've actually started the infield itself. Probably the biggest piece that's visual right now is the drainage that we put in. We've added tons of storm drainage to take care of all the water issues that were in place, and so we won't have any future in place, which makes the whole infield look like a complete construction site. We've rebuilt 3 of the suites that had fallen in completely from all the different years of weather and roofs falling in, so 3 of those suites are rebuilt now. We've started putting glass in to take out the old plexiglass. All the old roofs in the turns 1 and 2 buildings have been demoed down and are ready for rebuild. And there's been way more. Lots of demo, lots of cleaning up, root removal, weed removal, and all the above. Yeah, so one of the awesome parts about the furniture, we were able to bring our designers in and re-look at it, and it's actually been sent back to an upholsterer to reuse the old furniture in the new suites, but with reupholstered materials. So that's a really cool piece that when people show up and are sitting in the suites, if they're in the suites, they'll be sitting on history because those are the old seats that came from here. But you know, the refrigerators, the couches, I mean, all the pieces that were here, it was almost like in '96 when the race stopped, they just kind of locked the doors and left everything in place, and it was still here when we showed up. So we had to look at refrigerators that still had race products from 1990s in it, which is not always pleasurable, but you know, removing that kind of thing. And the power situation, it was old power. A lot of it had roots that had grown up through it and destroyed it. So making things safe, getting things back to where they needed to be. A lot different than what we're used to. Normally we either start and tear completely down and rebuild back, or we start from a fresh site and rebuild completely. So this one's been, how do we hold on to preserve the history? How do we hold on to the facilities that are here? And then how do we recreate them in a new way that's A, safe, B, more modern to the user, end user. So, you know, things like internet, things like all the amenities we're used to, having working toilets where literally you don't have places on the wall that you just use the restroom like they did back in the day, to actually putting in fixtures that we're all accustomed to in today's time. So trying to put all those pieces together, the planning behind that, to hold on to Marcus's vision of holding on to history has been a different challenge, something that we're not used to, but it's been really fun and challenging in the same. We want to make sure that, you know, Marcus really versed us with, once we start the construction in the planning state, that everything that we do is not just centralized around the race, but what can also be there. Can there be music festivals? Can there be, you know, fairs? Can there be things of that nature that would support other venues and other events that Wilkes County would benefit from an economic stance? So everything that we're looking at is, okay, how can we make this A, usable for NASCAR, and B, what else can we use it for, and how can it make it really flexible? So all the facilities, all the structures, even the interiors, so what we're looking to do makes them very flexible for different usages, and you know, that's something that we've been versed with in a lot of our facilities, but really primarily here. Big things that are going on right now is regrading the infield, getting the infield built up for preparation for asphalt, the storm drain, again, like we talked about, getting all that infrastructure in place. Musco lights are on order. We should get foundations here in another 2 weeks to be able to put the foundations in. A lot of work on the suite levels, getting the roofs on, getting the glass in so we can get them dried in, so during the cold months we can actually temporarily heat those and do work on the inside. A lot of infrastructure work, so the fiber optics, the power, the water, the sewer, those things that make things that nobody ever sees, but when they don't work, everybody notices. So we're making sure all that stuff gets in place. And then there'll be a lot more coming soon. I mean, naturally, a lot of these things are weather dependent, so we have to work with when the weather allows us to work, and we're trying to get to where no matter what the weather is, we can work during those situations. Next big one will be the safer barrier. Safer barrier comes in late January. We'll start the install on that in February and have that ready for sometime in spring for a tire test. That way the property's safe. Wheel fence will follow that. Those are two big visual things that will be able to see. The paving of the infield, I mean, that's again 12 acres of asphalt that has to take place. That's that's a big parking lot, so to speak. Then the roofs themselves. I mean, a lot of these structures are like the one that's behind us doesn't have a roof. It's just basically bare walls. So getting roofs installed, and then just the glass installations will be another big piece.